Second hour today.
In little sound bites, it's very easy to buy into the conspiracy theory. It's very hard to do the days of research required to debunk those conspiracy theories. The first thing you should go out and do is buy multiple copies of my book and give it to all your relatives. But however, the Zeitgeist movie, on a more serious note, not only has it become a sensation in Europe and America, but it is also alleged to be one of the inspirations behind the Tucson shooter. The congresswoman.
Gabrielle Giffords.
Gabby Giffords. Gabrielle Giffords. I'm confusing with someone else. I'm told that the shooter in that case, that was one of the films that he watched. However, he is actually in a different category because he's one of the clinical cases that I discussed. I mean, he's someone who there's evidence that he's actually nuts. But yeah, that film feeds into all kinds of conspiracy theories. And if you watch it, it's one of those films you watch it, it's spooky, even if you know it's nonsense. As propaganda, it's very effective propaganda, and it's scary that a conspiracy theorist make that film. It doesn't require a lot of money, and it influences millions of people.
Walton from Frederick. I want to go to Walton. He had an interesting question for our guest. Go right ahead, Walton.
Hi, Dan. As you know, I'm a fan of your show. I try to write you when I can.
Oh, thank you.
And I disagree with your guest on some important issues. One being, I feel that if there's damage to contemporary collective reality, then that is not necessarily a bad thing. And I think that actually, without theories, scientists or respectable journalists like yourself, Dan Rodrick, would never investigate occurrences, actual conspiracies that are later proven. And I think it is better that we are asking more questions now as a public about how we are governed and about what goes on behind the scenes than ever before. And I think that's a great thing for democracy, and I just would like an opposing, maybe you could have an opposing...
Yeah, Walton, thank you very much. I mean, at some point, a case can be closed, no?
It's a great question.
Can't you close a case? Yeah. Can't you actually investigate something and decide, these are the facts, case closed?
But it's a great question, and the variation of that question that I usually get is, what about Watergate? Can you imagine if Woodward and Bernstein had taken the attitude, oh, this is just a conspiracy theory, and they didn't investigate Watergate? But I'm going to go back to what I said before, and what you were just saying, that it is useful and healthy to investigate alleged conspiracies until you get overwhelming evidence that it is nonsense. And then you say, case closed, this is wrong, this is a false lead, forget it, it's been investigated, it's a waste of intellectual energy. In the case of legitimate conspiracies, like Watergate, like Iran-Contra, the evidence kept leading to the fact that there's a real conspiracy.
Well, Walton is correct about that.
Absolutely correct. And nothing...
I'm just saying that at some point with some of these, we move on to other subjects because the case is closed.
But what happens with conspiracy theorists is, as I say, they'll just keep drawing bigger circles and say, well, all this evidence that I'm getting, that's just because the conspiracy goes even farther than we did think.
In the case of the JFK assassination and the Warren Commission report, it seemed that so many people would have to be in on this conspiracy in order for it to have gone down. That's my rational.
The thing about JFK is people realize it's basically a conspiracy because we have to believe there's a bigger conspiracy. But then you get the Warren and the second that the Warren itself was part of one big setup to hide the truth. That second conspiracy theory to me is more disturbing than the first because it implies that some of the most eminent people in the United States have all been corrupted by a process to deliberately lie to the American people. That to me is far more disturbing than the idea that Oswald had friends who felt himself.
Jonathan Kay has been our guest. I'm so sorry we're out of time here because I have so many more questions for you. My goodness, this is really interesting. But you continue to write your blog about this, and you're on your book tour. Thank you, everybody. Sorry we didn't get to all those calls. We'll get Jonathan back on the midday again another day. We have to take a break here because we have the news coming up from NPR, of course, at 1 o'clock. Lunch today provided for our guests by Sophie Schmitz. We're going to take a break and come back. In the second hour of our show, I want you to think about these questions. Could you unplug for a whole week? Could you get off the internet? Could you stop tweeting? Could you put your BlackBerry down, your smartphone down? And what effect do you think that would have on your personal relationships during the time you were on hiatus from the techie world? We're going to talk about that. Sherry Parks visiting us after the news at 1.